What's up, everybody? I'm here with another book review. This time I want to talk about a book from Christopher Pike. This is called Scavenger Hunt. This is a book that I've actually heard is pretty off the rails and pretty crazy. I'll say up front that this book is actually pretty wild. This is a book that I did not expect really anything that what I got. Um, the story itself starts off with this guy going into a church, and he tells this priest that he killed somebody. The priest is understandably very weirded by this and wants to know more about it. And that's the end of that. We get more chapters about what's going on between this guy and this priest. The guy is referred to as a boy. He is a man, like we learn later on. But I'm not going to say much more about that. The story after this starts off with a dream sequence. We have Carl. He's a kid again. He's originally like a grown up, but he's a kid again, and he's on a tricycle riding with his friend Joe. They are riding towards this dam, and Joe mentions something about there being a lake behind this dam, and it starts raining, but it's only raining around this dam. So they start heading towards the dam when the dam breaks. So the two turn around and start going the other way, and Carl looks behind him and he sees this big thing fall from the sky. It lands in the water, and the water kind of sweeps away Joe, and Carl heads up towards this hill and he like saves himself. The water turns red, and that's the end of that chapter. Um, Carl wakes up, and we learn that he did have a friend named Joe that actually did pass away, similar to these events, other than the flying saucer-like thing that falls from the sky. It's not really a flying saucer; it's not mentioned as that. I don't remember, but this thing that falls from the sky didn't happen in his death. They actually went on this thing in the desert, and there was this flood that Joe didn't make it, and he passed away. All right, so he ends up getting a phone call, and it wakes him up. He answers it, and it's this girl named Cessy, and it's Cessy. It doesn't say what it's short for or anything, so her name's Cessy. She starts talking, and she wants him to come over, and she wants him to come over and join her team for the scavenger hunt. And Carl is like, yeah, sure. And she says his friend is over there too, named Tom. And Carl kind of finds this kind of weird because Tom isn't the same social class as Ceci. Ceci is this like really like pretty girl and all this stuff, and Tom is this guy that used to play football that actually got a head injury, and now he's not like he has a little bit of difficulties. So after this, they talk a little bit, and it turns out that he actually got another phone call from a girl named Tracy, who is this girl that liked Carl at one time at the beginning of the school year, beginning of the high school or whatever, and she just never made a move on him, and he never made a move on her, so they didn't end up together, and that's the end of that. We do get chapters later on in Tracy's point of view, and it's really fun, really cool, fascinating stuff, kind of. So yeah. After this, we end up going to the assembly. We learn more about the scavenger hunt that he's been a part of. Let me jump to what Tracy's team is first. So Tracy's team is, of course, Tracy, who likes Carl. She has another girl named Paula, who is Joe's ex-girlfriend, and his ex-girlfriend blames Carl for her ex-boyfriend dying. And then Paula has a little brother named named Rick, who is in a wheelchair. He has a thing called muscle dystrophy. I think that's if that's correct. And yeah, I know there's four characters. There is Tracy, Paula, Rick. I feel like there's one more that I probably forgot. But yeah, I think it could be up to 3 to 4. But anyway, they go to the assembly, and we learn that the winner of this this scavenger hunt, gets a ticket to Hawaii, and for everybody like involved. So they're excited, and this guy that's telling us all this is named Mr. Partridge. Mr. Partridge is this teacher that has like sunglasses on all the time. He mentioned something about he got like some kind of disease, like when he went like around the world or something, and he's like very sensitive to light now. And yeah, so the scavenger hunt kind of begins, and it's not super interesting. They go to different places here and there. They pick up like watches and socks, and Tom is putting them on as he goes, um, and different things like that. There's hats and stuff like that. So they're doing all this, and during this whole scavenger hunt thing, Davy mentioned something about this article that he saw where there was this mine, and these four people went in, and I think it was like the four people went in. They found this gold. They came back, brought it to the bank, and they went back to get more. And then the cave collapsed on them. So the bank manager went to go find the gold or whatever, and he finds their skeletons, and he finds a diary, and he leaves a diary for his uh, daughter. And yeah, so Rick finds this interesting, and while all this is going on, Rick takes off and he finds an article that's similar to what this guy Davy says, and he takes it. After this, they do some more scavenger hunt stuff. They go get ice cream, and this is where the book almost goes crazy. And when I say what I'm about to say next, you're gonna think like, well, that's crazy enough, and I agree. So Tracy is getting ice cream for everybody, or for most people, and Davy and Ceci are in Carl's truck eating ice cream, and Ceci has two ice cream cones in both hands, and she is kissing Davy. Now, in case you're not following, Davy and Ceci are brother and sister. So, there's that. And that's not even as crazy as this book gets. That's wild enough for me, you know. I'm like, all right, okay, what's going on? I was already kind of hooked from there because I was like, this is pretty crazy. The scavenger hunt continues, and they end up at this old boarded house. And in this old boarded house, you know, their teams kind of split up. So they're at this old boarded house, and this big lizard runs across, and Carl kicks the lizard. He falls over, and like hits his head or something. And Davy smashes this giant lizard thing and destroys it. So after this, Tracy goes and she finds they grab a before I get too far, but they grab a Carl, Tom, and all them. Tom grabs Carl, throws him in the back of the truck, sits in the back truck with him. Ceci and Davy are driving, or Davy's driving. Ceci's in a passenger seat, and we don't know what's going on. So before all this happens, Carl takes his watch and throws it into the desert where this all takes place, and Tracy sees it, and they say we got to find Carl. She ends up at this old house, and she actually breaks in and goes inside. And this scene is so good. Like I really had a lot of fun with this. So that he goes inside, and she sees this she hears like scratching noises and stuff, but she finds these articles like from newspapers about like torture and murders and stuff, and they see a poster on the wall. And I'll reveal this because I don't think it's that much of a spoiler. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm lying. It's a poster of somebody that is involved with all this somehow, some way. And when I was reading this, I had no idea like what was gonna happen. So they find this poster with all these things going on. They don't know what's going on. So yeah, that's basically the climax. Like this is like leading up to the climax. We go back to the church, a couple of chapters, and it's very very scary. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna reveal about this because I do think you should just go into this thinking it's about a scavenger hunt. And it is, but the scavenger hunt is just this mild, like, plot thing that is set up for everything else. I'm telling you now, I was reading this, and when I got about halfway through, I literally thought to myself, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I had a vague idea of what could possibly happen, but my vague idea was just so off the wall that I was like, there's no way that's going to happen. But, sure enough, it did. I did not guess like really what happened though, because what I guessed was just something crazy. And there's more layers to what's actually going on. In fact, it kind of gets a little confusing. I couldn't even tell you, even if I wanted to spoil this, like what exactly happened, because it's insane. I have like an idea, like if I had to tell you, but it's crazy. It's ridiculous. But it's very fun. I do want to mention too, there is a scene in the cave or whatever they find. And it is very sad, and it kind of tugged my heartstrings a little bit. I've read quite a few Christopher Pike books that are absolutely sad, and this one was up there. It wasn't the saddest one I read. Whispers of Death, I think, has the saddest, like one of the saddest scenes I've read in a book. But yeah, um, other than that, the villain and villains slash, I guess, are very very intimidating. Um, I didn't know what exactly they were until it was like revealed. But yeah, the first half of this book is kind of slow. It's about a scavenger hunt. They go around looking for like socks and helmets and watches. Pretty boring. The climax of this is awesome. The boarded up house scenes are awesome. The church scene, there is a scene in the church where this guy is talking to this priest and said they're coming for me, basically. And the priest is like, I heard a spot at the door, or heard something at the door, and he gets up to leave. And this is like straight up out of a horror movie. It's like, no, don't leave by myself. Absolutely terrifying, like pretty scary stuff. Yeah, Scavenger Hunt, I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was really fun. Um, thought it was a really fun book. The first half of this book, like I said, is very slow, but if you're willing to stay with it and kind of get creeped out, it's worth it. Again, this is a very crazy book. I haven't read a ton of Christopher Pike's YA books. I'm on book, I think, 11 of Spooksville, so there's that. But these are just, yeah, this one's probably the craziest one that I've read so far. And yeah, and if you read Whispers of Death, that's saying something. So yeah, Scavenger Hunt, I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Please let me know in the comments below. Is this one of your favorite books from Christopher Pike? What is the craziest book you've read from Christopher Pike? What are some recommendations that I need to read? I really want to read Monster. I've heard nothing but good things about that one. Yeah, that's it for me, guys, I think. Thank you. Bye-bye.